Namaste, all you mystical minds. Welcome back for another video. My name is Chelsea Sonkar. I'm a Vedic astrologer and consciousness coach, and I am here bringing you the new moon in Libra in Swati Nakshatra for Vedic astrology reading for November 2021. Let's dive in. Welcome everyone. As I said, this is the new moon. We are in eclipse season now, so this particular new moon will set the seeds that will lead up to the full moon partial lunar eclipse that will be happening later in the month, the full moon. And all this energy, it's building. Like I shared in the update for the November energy 2021 reading, you definitely want to check that out because it's got much more information about all the things that are coming up, how that you can work with the energies that are arising for your greatest light on your path, and also how to catch yourself when you fall into the shadow aspects too, so that we can come back into alignment and not to judge ourselves because the stuff that's coming up for to be worked with at the moment, it's quite challenging. We are still having a human experience, and that means acknowledging when we feel angry or sad or these other shadow emotions, because they're there for us to be worked with. So as we dive in, we've got this. I just want to start off with a Venus mantra to give homage to Venus, because this month we are in Libra, which is Venus's sign. Om Hima Kunda Mirna Labam Daitya Anam Paramam Gurum Sarva Sastra Parva Katram Bhargavam Pranamamyaham Om Hrim Srim Sukraye Namaha. Like sandal and jasmine that have been crushed, the foremost guru of the forces of duality, who expounds all of the scriptures, to that descendant of Brigu, we bow down in devotion. Om, we bow down to Venus, the emblem of love and attachment. Woo, all right. So as we move in, this particular new moon, and I'll put up the chart towards the end of this so that you can see the visuals of how all these aspects are working, but this month I thought it would be easier if you can see my face and try something a little bit different. So we've got a debilitated sun here this month. We've got Mars and Mercury, and it's opposing Uranus, which is the planet of unexpected breakthroughs or going against the status quo in the grain. Swati itself is the self-going star. It's the 15th star, and it also means the sword. It is symbolized by a blade of grass and the ability to change and survive the changes that are coming up so that you can bend with the wind. But generally it's more self-focused so that you can achieve what it is that you intentionally really want to achieve without, necessarily pushing against other people. I feel that this Libra energy, it's quite peaceful and harmonious as well. So how to harmonize the self, I see these themes that are coming up. Libra itself is a Venus sign, as I shared before, but this particular star is ruled by Rahu, which, these themes of Rahu that's been in Taurus, Rahu's just moved into Krittika, Rahu being the planet of attachments. And here with this particular star, we have this kind of hidden attachment to things that we want, and we're ability to sway and move around things for independence and freedom to get what we want, and being aware of the sensory or material attachments that we may have, I believe, is more of the shadow aspects that Rahu can kind of bring in here. The deity for this particular star is Vayu. And again, in the November update, I explained that this particular month is about cleansing, purification. With Vayu, Vayu means the god of the wind. It's about sustaining life and movement. If you don't breathe, the in-breath is the expansion, the out-breath is the contraction. And if you don't breathe, it's the one condition for staying here on planet Earth, is that if you don't breathe, you lose your life force. So if we learn how to harness and control the breath, essentially, that we are blowing away hindrances in the exhaling breath, and we're learning how to expand ourselves in the inhale. So purifying the breath, doing pranayama practices are going to be really beneficial tomorrow on this particular new moon, Australian Eastern Standard Time, and wherever you are in the world. Again, this is happening in the 5th for us here in Australia, Australian Eastern Standard Time, as I just shared. The other deity for this particular star is represented by Saraswati, the goddess of learning. So we can use our communication to influence others. I really do feel that this desire for freedom and independence, to go against the grain and the status quo that we can have with this Uranus aspect that's hitting us this month, is wanting to express ourselves. You might feel a little bit blocked or wanting to go outside of things. And I always have stories for, you know, the new moon and the full moon for what's happening for myself on the macro level, that I noticed that we had a couple of jobs in the house, physical jobs, that like painting that needed to be completed. And then we went into a lockdown and the job was not completed. And now that things are opening back up, the rules have all changed in the particular city that I'm in. And the individual that was supposed to complete the job has decided, and I apologize if this seems controversial, but again, this is just me listening to my own inner voice. I invite you to listen to your own inner voice as well, and what feels aligned for you, because you just know if you're not listening to that little signal that goes off in your gut, you feel this sort of sense of shame or uncomfortability. But as soon as I made the decision with what I'm about to share with you, I felt lighter again. And this is going to be different for everyone. But the particular contractor that was supposed to complete the job said that he would not be doing any jobs for, you know, they asked us what our medical status was, which doesn't really matter to me, whether we are, you know, in this boat or this boat, but the fact is that there is segregation going on, that we will not be doing jobs for people who have chosen not to get the jab. And for me personally, as soon as he said this, I just felt this, you know, I don't really want to associate with that particular energy. I don't like the segregation that happens there, and I'm happy to find someone else to do the job. So it doesn't really matter whether I've chosen to do it or not. At the end of the day, I just feel that for me personally, I'd rather work with people who, you know, I don't want to be in a fear space or this constricting energy of, you know, these classes of human beings, whatever that may be. And again, me sharing this, it's not about demonizing anybody for the choices that they make. It's when you inflict those choices on other people and your judgments and things like that. And I felt that was very much out of alignment with who I am and how I feel, and I don't need that. So getting back into this particular energy, the animal symbol for this particular nakshatra is the male buffalo. Now, I have a spirit animal guidebook that I always pull up when there's a particular animal here, and I think you guys would find this very interesting to hear. So it's also the bison, and I just find it fascinating for those that are fans of the Avatar, The Last Airbender. Aang has a bison, so they say buffalo bison, and it's about the air element, which is very fascinating. And we're working with Libra air elements here, and as you know, the Aang is part of the air nomads, and they're very peaceful, harmonious monk people. And I just think this energy of, you know, diplomacy and harmonized communication that comes out of that was just fascinating to pull that out. So the energy of the male buffalo: trust that you'll always have whatever you need. Trust. Focus on being appreciative and grateful for all you have. Gratitude. Clear out any surplus goods and recycle those items. Clearing. Have faith in the natural abundance of life. Faith and abundance. Stop feeling sorry for yourself and instead be aware of the extraordinary number of resources you have available. Expand your interest by trying a new hobby, recreation, sport, or activity. And then it goes on to say the white buffalo: expect a miracle and keep the faith. A period of calm and peacefulness is upon you, one that can pass along in your contact with others. Your spirituality will now increase in leaps and bounds. You're a contributor to a new era that's being ushered in, one of peace and harmony for all people. Now, if that doesn't send shivers down your spine, so you know, it's right there. I'm talking about Vedic astrology. This is spirit animals. If you talk to other people, you know, I've spoken to psychic intuitives, people with different gifts and abilities in this healing space, and you will hear the same message going on. So trust, have faith, feel that abundance coming through. As we move into the eclipse season, you'll see these transformative events that are about to take place, there's a crumbling happening. It's going to be intense, but like I always say, come into the eye of the storm. This is the great awakening. Focus on your spiritual practices in your heart and you will prevail. Here, again, like I said, with the cleansing and the purifying energy, the symbol of the blade of grass, it's that flexibility and the inner potential strength that we hold at this particular time. So be prepared to, notice yourself and go, okay, where do I want to shift and change and go? The power here is this ability to destroy or disappear things, dissipate things for a new beginning. What do you want to get rid of? And for me personally, I decided that I want to be moving in a more sattvic way. And, for example, like I shared that story of the contractor, I'm just like, well, maybe I need to start looking for new people that I want to associate with in that way. And I know that can sound very polarizing, but for me personally, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not happy with the current circle of, people that I might call for jobs at the moment, because I've noticed this kind of polarizing energy when they're there. It could be very unholistic conversations that may be coming about, or very unkind things that might be said about said animals in the area. And I just realized that this doesn't feel right. And maybe even perhaps it's the area that I live in, that the vibration of the particular city that I'm in, and I can share that, doesn't feel very aligned for me anymore. And wanting to, blow with the wind and change into a different area, which makes me think of the movie Chocolat, where you move with the north wind when it comes through for a new beginning. These righteous, truthful, independent, humanitarian concerns that will be coming through with this nakshatra. The shadow side, however, that you want to be aware of is this restlessness, feeling trapped, discontented. This is where we need to use the prana, to bring ourselves back into alignment and focused on our path and when we need to move and change. You have the ability to, destroy things that you don't want around you anymore, or dissipate them so that you can shift into a new path. Use this in a constructive way. You may feel scattered. It can also be self-centered if you're very much like me, what I want, and maybe discontented with the divine. So like I said, if you notice yourself feeling restless, listen to that, sit with it and notice, okay, what do I need to do to come into alignment, or what feels sattvic for my soul? That's very important. So here I say, for this particular month, practice pranayama, take solitude time. It's very important, and especially this month in general. I had a message come through that Tai Chi, I feel that moving with the wind element, even if you're not sure, and you could be doing slow dance, for example, or yoga poses would be very important, because you're working with the air element. And if you do your own research, you'll find that there will be specific air poses, vata poses that you can do. A vata yoga practice, which is working with the wind element, the air element, the space element, that will be really supportive here. And generally vata, which is the space in the air from an Ayurvedic perspective, is where we can have anxiety that comes through overthinking, stress, which is this scattered energy that we're talking about, which is why doing yoga and pranayama, linking it with the breath and the body, is going to be so, I cannot stress enough, beneficial for everybody at this month, to overcome these sensory and material attachments. And just noticing, if you're like, my husband and I have a joke where we're walking down the street and he has a particular love of beautiful cars, and I made a comment a couple of months back where I just said, it's just a piece of metal. I mean, I've gone through that phase of my life where I've had faster cars, and then realized that I was too attached to the image of myself with that particular thing, and that I had disconnected from who I was as a spiritual being. And that's where I kind of leaned more into my spiritual journey. For him, anytime we walk past a nice car, he goes, that's a nice piece of metal. So as you become aware of these themes, it really helps you to take stock of different areas of your life that you can move into on a deeper level, that initially you're going to feel more whole and more connected. So on a macro level, you may see a fall from grace. Again, the sun is debilitated, particularly here this month. Governments, I really feel that on a deep level. It's the ego falling away. On a micro level, restructuring our world for more freedom, more independence. Who do you want to associate with? Do you have faith and trust in the divine plan? And can you use this energy to create something more beautiful, or are you going to leave behind a trail of destruction, essentially? because I mean, it's Libra. You get to decide how you want to do that. Can you do it in a diplomatic, humanitarian, sort of loving way for the people, or are you going to hack away with that sword, which is what this star is about. It's a self-going star. It's about freedom. It's about, it can turn into the me elements, but yeah, this is really the energy that we're working with at this particular time. But again, remember that it's a Venus sign, so that love, connection, energy. But then we've got Rahu, which is like obsession and where we want to be going. So if you link the two of them together, bring the highest light out, and then we can move through there. So as we switch over here, you can see the new moon. New moon is always when the sun and the moon are sitting together in Libra in Swati Nakshatra with Mars, about 9 degrees apart. So it's still combust. And Mercury in Chitra. So the communication themes, fiery communication themes that become coming out, directly opposite Uranus retrograde at 18 degrees, all of them. So it's going to be really strong. Expect sudden events to happen. Expect breakthroughs, big changes that can happen. It can happen in travel as well. And I feel, I mean, sun is debilitated. It can be health themes, governments, ego, the father. Again, the reason that the sun is debilitated in Libra is because Libra is about the people. And if you think about the 7th house, it's about other people, partners. There could be discommunication between you and your spouse at this time. Discontent around feelings and emotions, things like that, overthinking. We bring in all these flavors of Mercury, Mars, Moon, and the Sun. Sun being debilitated here because when it's in Aries, it's exalted, and Aries, it gives it that firepower to be like me. And here it's kind of like, I've got to think about other people, and and the sun is the king, the queen, the leader, and it's not great in Libra. So that's where we've got this going on. And nearly a square with Saturn too, so we'll see some delays and things like that can be happening. It feels like you want to break through, but you can't quite. Wanting to push against the grain too. So when we get to the full moon, you'll see that the moon is in Krittika Nakshatra with Rahu in Taurus, and that will be the partial lunar eclipse full moon. And I've shared a bit of information in that on the November update video. You can see the links below. If you enjoyed this video, shoot me a like. You can leave a comment below. I love to read your comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos, and hit the bell notification so you can get updates whenever I upload. And if you want to connect with me, you can head to my website, chelseasonka.com, and you can either book a reading or you can send me a message and we can talk about where you want to be moving in your own journey. Discover your dharma, your light, your purpose, all the gifts that you have incarnated here, whether you are aware of them or not, what planetary periods you're in, so that you can better understand and get clarity about what's happening for you at this time, and then realign you and awaken you to your free will so that you can walk the path of the light and come out of the shadow if you feel that you've fallen into that area, so that you can start living your dharmic purpose and with happiness, blessings, and light and love. Lots of love to you all, and I'll see you at the full moon video. Namaste.